Hello everyone, today I'm going to be teaching you how to do the basics of crochet. Today we're going to be learning how to do a slip knot, a chain and a single crochet square swatch. It's fairly easy, but obviously if you've never done it before it's going to feel quite alien. So if it takes you a couple of tries, that's completely normal. It took me about 10 to 15 tries to get the hang of crochet, but eventually it will click and you'll get the hang of it. So let's make a start. So let's go through materials that you're going to need to start crocheting. You'll need some yarn. You can just pick up some basic yarn from the shop. Anything will do, as long as you have the correct corresponding hook size, which it should tell you on the label of the yarn. Today I'm going to be using a 4.5mm crochet hook, a yarn needle that's got a big eye so that the yarn will fit through, and a pair of scissors to cut the yarn at the end when we're finished. So to start, we're going to take the yarn and we're going to have the tail end facing us like this. We're going to hold it with our 3 fingers down here, and we're going to have our thumb up and our pointer finger pointing out. We're going to make the slip knot first, which you'll use basically to start most crochet projects. So we're going to wrap the yarn around our pointer finger like so. Hold it with our middle finger. Pull this first strand over the second strand like that. See? And then the second strand comes over the first strand and over the finger. Pull up with your finger like so while holding the 2 ends of yarn, and you get a slip knot just like that. So let's do that together again. So we're taking our yarn in our hand, we're holding it with our 3 fingers, pointing the thumb up and the pointer finger facing out like this. We're wrapping the yarn around the finger like so, holding it with our middle finger and holding the end with our ring finger and pinky. Taking the first strand of yarn over the second strand, and then the second strand comes over the first strand. Pull up, and there's a slip knot. So you take your crochet hook and put it inside the slip knot, and if you pull on the tail end of the yarn, it'll tighten up like that. So we're going to be working with the long end of yarn that's connected to the ball. So I like to hold my crochet project with my work in my middle finger and thumb like so, my pointer finger pointing up, holding the yarn for some tension, and then the rest of the yarn in my ring finger and pinky. So next we're going to learn how to chain. Now you want to start with your crochet hook facing away from you like this, holding the yarn with your finger like so. Place underneath the yarn, turn to face you, and pull through that slip knot that we made, making a chain. So facing away from us, underneath the yarn, pulling towards us and through, facing away, pulling towards and through, facing away, pulling towards and through, facing away, pulling towards and through. Away, towards, through, away, towards, through, away, towards, through, away, towards, through. And then you should have a few chains at this point. Going to do a couple more. Okay, so should have a line of chains. Doesn't matter how many you have, but I would start with a smaller amount just while we're learning, because if you have too many it can become a bit daunting. So I would start with about 10, maybe to 12 chains. So we're going to start with the single crochet now. So you want to be in the second chain from the hook, which is this one right here. So you place the hook through the chain, facing away, towards, pull through the chain. You should have 2 loops on the hook, facing away, towards, and through, and that's a single crochet. So again, through the chain, you can pull to tighten it up, facing away, towards, through, 2 loops, facing away, towards, and through. In through the chain, away, towards, through, 2 loops, away, towards, through. So just continue that all the way down your chains. We'll do a couple more together just so you get the hang of it. So in the chain, in the chain, over, towards, through, over, towards, through, into the chain, away, towards, through the first loop, away, towards, through both loops, like that. So that's a single crochet. I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of the chains, and I'll meet you back in just a second. Okay, so we now have our single crochet all the way down the chains. Now you're at the end, we're going to chain 1, so over and through, and you're going to turn the work, so turn it away for like the opposite direction. Now as you can see, we've got these V's on top of the chains. These are our stitches that we're going to work into. So this time you're going to go through the whole stitch, so this front loop and the back loop, and the whole stitch on your hook, under, towards, through, the 2 loops, under, towards, through, single crochet. So through the whole stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, through the whole stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. And as you can see, we're starting to single crochet along the chain. So through the whole stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. And so you're just working into these little V's here, the front loop and the back loop. And then once we get to the end, we will chain 1 and turn our work again. Okay, so when you reach the end of the row, you want to make sure that you're crocheting into this last stitch, otherwise your work's going to just keep getting smaller and smaller. So make sure you crochet into that very last stitch, and then chain 1 and turn your work like that. And then again, we're going to be working into these V's. So insert through the V's, yarn over, pull through 2, into the next one, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. See how we're starting to get a bit of a square rectangular pattern, because obviously it's a bit longer. So we're just going to keep doing this until we get a square swatch. So we're at the end again, so we're going to chain 1 and turn the work, and then again just going into both sides of the V on the hook, so through the stitch like that, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, and we're just going to keep going until you get the desired size. I'm just going to do one more row and then show you how to fasten off your work. So once you get to the last row, to fasten off, you're going to chain 1 and cut the yarn. So hold it in this hand like that, and then where you've chained 1, you're going to pull through and pull tight, and that's going to fasten off your work like so. So we've now got these 2 strands of yarn. We're going to weave these in with the yarn needle that I showed you at the beginning. So I like to twist my yarn to get it as thin as possible and then push it through the eye of the needle like so, and then we're going to weave this in. So if you take your yarn needle and you see these bits of the stitch here, these front stitches, we're going to weave through here into those front stitches like that, and then we're going to pull the yarn needle through, and it pulls the yarn into the stitches like that to hide it. So just tug on that a little bit to pull the stitch tight, and then just cut the excess yarn. Pull tight and snip. And see how we've hidden that yarn tail? So we're going to do the same for this side. So I like to again twist my yarn so it's nice and thin and push it through. Push it through like that, and then we're going to find those front parts of the stitches again, so these bits here, like so, and just pull through, and again pull that tight and cut the yarn, and there you go. That's a little square swatch. I would do a couple of these just to practice, and then you'll get the hang of it in no time. You can make them as big or as small as you want. I sometimes do them just to swatch how the colour of the yarn's going to look in the crochet, but like I say, you can do that, and then as long as you've weaved your ends in, you can tug on this and they shouldn't come out. So that's how you do a single crochet. I'll see you in the next lesson for some more crochet tips. Thank you. Bye.